It's easy to overlook the deep-rooted history beneath our feet.
In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to take the land for granted.
Robbinsdale Area Schools is changing that. The district recognizes and honors the land it calls home. More specifically, Robbinsdale Area Schools recognizes the Dakota and Ojibwe people and their stewardship of this land long before settlers first set foot in this place. Land acknowledgements are a humble gesture of respect and an act of acknowledging the traditional and ancestral lands upon which we stand.
By recognizing this history, we honor the resilience and knowledge of Indigenous peoples who have preserved their cultures despite a tumultuous history of colonization. Land acknowledgements like Robbinsdale's encourages us to come together as a community, fostering a sense of unity and empathy towards each other and the environment we share.
Together, let us acknowledge the land and honor the people who have been its guardians for centuries.
May this simple act pave the way for a deeper connection to our shared history and a more equitable world.
The Robbinsdale Area Schools Land Acknowledgement. We acknowledge Robbinsdale Area Schools is located on the homelands of the Dakota and Ojibwe people.
We recognize the painful history of genocide and forced assimilation of the Indigenous inhabitants of this land. We honor and respect the many Indigenous people who live on and hold sacred these lands, and we stand with members of these nations to fight injustice in all its forms.
We uphold the preservation of Dakota and Ojibwe languages, land-based education, and tribal sovereignty.
The land acknowledgement is posted and displayed in all of the buildings, but it goes deeper than that. It's learning about the actual history of our people.
In order to honor the language in the statement, they have to create a plan of action. So with schools, for example, it's one thing to say that this land was at one point Native American or Indigenous land, but if it stops there and they don't learn about the Indigenous arts, the Indigenous economies, the Indigenous societies that were here, it almost doesn't do a service for the acknowledgement.
We didn't have a lot of Indian education programs growing up, so we didn't know much about our culture. It's just that, we went to our reservation and attended powwows and gatherings and such. I just think that if we're acknowledging what's going on today through education, through curriculum, that it would help, spark the interest more.
The history in the state of Minnesota is really understanding what happened to the Dakota people and the exile and some of those really hard stories that really shaped Minnesota as we know it. And when we understand that history, that's just one small way to pay homage to what our Dakota and Ojibwe people, the work and contributions that we do as Indigenous people, goes on.
I want to pass on hope to the next generation, and in doing so, they won't have to go through the fights that we've had to go through over the past few decades and the ancestors had to go through over the past couple hundred years.
I think a land acknowledgement is a beginning. And when I think of how far we've come, it just warms my heart because now this is out there and it makes me think of what else the future can hold and how we can change our history going forward. For more information, visit our website, rdale.org/land acknowledgement.